Hi, fourth graders. We are starting this book, Night of the Twisters, and the author is Ivy Ruckman, and I'm so excited. This is one of my favorite books to read in fourth grade, and so we'll get started. You can follow along with me. Right on this very first page is an introduction, so we'll start there. Grand Island, Nebraska, June 4th, AP. Fourth graders, that AP stands for Associated Press, so this came from a newspaper. A string of 7 tornadoes devastated this central Nebraska city last night, killing 4 persons and injuring 134. Initial reports said 5 persons were killed, and one county official said this morning that she thought more than 30 bodies had been found. The city was battered by the tornadoes over a 3-hour period. When they were over, a 6-block wide swath along Grand Island's 2 main streets were devastated. The Federal Emergency Management Administration said that 513 homes and 60 businesses had been destroyed. In addition, 450 homes and 15 businesses were damaged. Radar indicated that the tornadoes that hit Grand Island were touched off by a thunderstorm cell at least 35 miles wide that formed shortly before 8 p.m. And that's from the Associated Press, June 4th, 1980. So fourth graders, this is based on a real event that happened. So we'll start here. Chapter 1 is called As Told by Dan Hatch. When I was a little kid, I thought a red letter day was when you got a red letter in the mailbox. Pretty dumb, huh? It finally dawned on me that a red letter day is when something terrific and wonderful happens to you, usually something unexpected. Take that April Saturday when I won $500 in cash and merchandise. Now that was a red letter day if I ever saw one. But who'd have guessed? A plain open space on the calendar that day that started out just like any other, with Frosty Flakes for breakfast and Mom posting my jobs on the kitchen corkboard. Don't forget to change the kitty litter, Dan, she said, just as she had every Saturday for as long as I could remember. By noon of April 19th, I had entered the Dairy Queen bike race because my best friend Arthur dared me. By 2 o'clock, I was crossing the finish line 79th, with only 2 cyclists behind me. Who'd have guessed a beginner like me would win the racer's raffle afterward? Besides the $100 from Grand Island Thrift and Loan, I won a slick new racing bike, a Schwinn Voyager 26 pounds with Diacomp 500G side pull brakes and a jet black frame. The prize also included a racing helmet, an aluminum bike pump, and 3 packages of Fruit of the Loom underwear, which I gave to Arthur because he wears a men's small. Now that's the kind of day that ought to have a tag on it. It could read, "This is a red letter day. 1. Dress appropriately. 2. Practice looking humble. 3. Comb your hair in case of photographers." Now that I'm older and more experienced, I know there are black letter days as well as red letter ones. Those biggies, the real blockbusters that mess up your life, aren't marked on the calendar either. You never know ahead of time when you're getting one of those. If I had my way, if I were in charge of the world, as Dad sometimes says, the black letter days would be announced for sure. I've thought about this a lot. What if God or someone actually did send out doomsday letters via the postal service? Wouldn't that be something? Say you wake up to a nice regular day. Everybody's in a good mood. A perfumey breeze is swinging in from the south. La-di-da. Then you go out to bring in the mail. What's this, you gasp, staring at a black envelope in your hands. You rip it open, trembling all the way to the elbows. Furnace explosion planned, it says, 2 o'clock today. Or maybe head-on collision with a Peterbilt truck, Washington and 4th Street. Or tornado on Tuesday. If people got notices like that in advance, it would save a lot of trouble and grief. It's those black surprises that get to you. Those things people call acts of God because they have to blame someone. My all-time worst black letter day was June 3rd of last summer. There were no notices mailed out on that occasion for sure. There were no indications at all. 20% probability of thunderstorms toward evening was what the local weatherman said that morning. So what's new? Mom talked back to him, poking around another spoonful of cereal in my baby brother's smiling mouth. To tell you the truth, the weather was the last thing on my mind. Arthur and I had big plans for that Tuesday. Crafts class first at my Aunt Goldie's place. A couple of hot burritos at Taco John's after. Later, a bike hike out to the Platte River and a swim at Mormon Island. According to my Grandpa Hatch, the best swimming in south central Nebraska exists right there where the Big Island separates the Platte. With school out for good, Arthur and I were planning to get in on some of it. Unless you count the long, serious clouds strung across the morning sky as Arthur and I pedaled off to Aunt Goldie's, there were no warnings at all that day in June. None. All right, tune in next time for the next video on chapter called 5 o'clock.